Okay, I've been doing an autopsy on this, working out what worked out right and what worked out that I didn't like, and how to put it right in another version. I don't know if I'll video the next one because it's a very similar process. But what I've realised that what I've got to do is, if you remember the segments, the side profile onto the hexagon, I need to write 3 rings to create 3 layers. So this only has 2 layers really, the outside and the next layer down, and then it was hollow in the centre. I need a slightly bigger sphere, 74 millimeters diameter. That was 60 to pull this off. And so I'll be routing in 3 rings. I can do those 2 at a time, and then hand routing in with that little router carver some curves, keeping them very simple, meshing them together and into that network of rings. The rings are giving me a backbone. Then the top profile of the hexagonal pieces, I'll be joining between those grooves, drilling with 4 to 5 and 6 millimeter holes. They won't be straight through, they'll be going through diagonally between one set of grooves and another, one groove and another groove on opposite sides. That'll create a nice network. If the holes on the outside, I'm deciding I'm leaving till it's a sphere and drilling in, because I can get that Voronoi pattern that I really want on the outside then. So they'll be drilled once it's finished, not while it's still in that hexagonal stage. That'll make it easier to turn, because I was a bit jumpy with all those holes. It was causing the tool to deflect, which I didn't like. You have to compensate, but it's better without. So yeah. Oh, and also the clear zone towards the point of the the hexagonal pieces, they're wider than that. They're 60 degrees obviously, so they're about that wide. There's a little clear zone, and any holes in that clear, a 12 millimeter radius, so there'll be a 1-inch clear circle on top of the sphere, and those will drill holes in after as well, you know, when it's a sphere, and try and hit into the network. You will hit the network no matter which way you go, more or less. So, but I don't have any wood for this, so I'm not going to be doing this just yet, and I have another project that is going to take priority anyway. I've got to drag a whole door out of my garage behind about 2 ton of oak to have candidate wood for this, because I'm out of this wood. And that maple that I've got wouldn't work, because in drilling it likes to string up and tear out, and it'll just self-destruct. So I've got to wait for some sapele or mahogany, and then I'll have another go at this, but it'll be later. In the other project that I've got though, that's going to take priority is, and I've been thinking about this for a long time and I've decided to commit to it, is a pin router for my router table. But I want it to be over router. Like you can have an overhead router, so I can have a router on an arm above my workpiece, or I can use the router in my router table and route from the bottom, so it's over router. And the routers will be centered above each, you know, centered on a pin, just like in a pin router. so that the pin could be held in a router on the top or a router on the bottom, which has got advantages because the pin can rotate. It makes it nicer, easier to follow the wood, the pattern. So I'm going to make, and this could take some time, so I'm not going to video all this, I'll just do a couple of little highlight videos of progress. An arm which will be aluminium, thick aluminium sides, like 6 or something millimeter sides to an arm, a collar to hold the router, 43mm hole and a split and a lock to hold. That's the Euro collar standard, so a few routers and drills and all sorts will fit in there, and I've got adapters for a Ford and bits to stick in there anyway. Right, an elbow or a knee, which is a bracket with a dovetail, and it forms a sliding dovetail in the column. The column's going to be made of ply but quite meaty, and fixed to the top of the router table with aluminium angle brackets. So that I want to make that pretty rigid. This will be hollow for lightness because I don't want it too heavy, and a fine adjust with an M8 threaded rod and a fine adjustment knob on the top. So 1mm per turn. I can graduate that and have some control over the exact control over the height. Because I've made that M8 because it may be M10, I'm not sure actually. I'm going to see if I can cannibalise the quick release on a Makita router. They have like a button that you can adjust the height of the depth gauge, and I want to see if I can cannibalise one of those to make that a quick set on that, and there'll be 2 locking screws in there as well. So that's the plan, and what I'm going to use this for is a couple of things. I can make a sledge, which I've got designed, a sled where I can attach a circle of plywood, a disc of plywood, to the bottom of a perspex. It's a perspex sled. I can attach a disc of wood to the bottom and put a pattern for a gear tooth on the top, and use a pin on the, that's right, a pin on the top, the router from the bottom, and cut gears, which is something that I've done before, but it's just hard work, and this will make it easy because all I need to do is index that disc with however many disc marks I make, and then just routing the teeth, rotating it between teeth. And the second thing about this is that box I made with the wavy edges. I could make one of those out of a single piece of wood, turn the box to the right dimensions in the lathe, and then have just a simple pattern for one arc, both sides, so the inside and the outside can be curved, and then have like a stack of have several of those, so that a bowl can be put below this arm. That's why I've given it so much height. There's going to be 6 inches of height, 4 inches of cuttable height under there, so I can have a bowl up to 4-inch depth, and curve the edges in steps going down by using a template. Sorry, this will use a template or a series of templates of different sizes for the that curve. So I'll just affix those to the bottom of the bowl one at a time. I've got a method of doing that accurately, so that then we'll have a graduated bowl, and that'll be more like those Rose engine turn bowls. bowls, yeah. So that's what I'm going to be working on, and I'll just do update videos when I've got each main component made, and that I'll be returning to when it warms up a little bit, because it's a bit cold getting all 2 ton of oak at the garage and then a door and then putting it all back. I don't fancy it in this weather. Thanks for watching.